So today we're going to be talking with Rieva Lesonsky. She's a nationally known speaker, best-selling author, and authority on entrepreneurship about business trends that she's seeing in the industry today, along with some tips for how to position your business for growth. So if you have any questions or things that you are interested in learning about that you're hoping to get out of today's webinar, feel free to drop those in that questions panel as well. So I'd like to kick off that interactive spirit. I've got a poll question for everyone on the call here today. I'm going to go ahead and launch that now. Just curious to see who we've got joining us today, what size companies and things. That'll help us kind of tailor some of the content that's going. I know we're talking about small businesses specifically, but that's kind of like an open-ended thing from, one-man shop up to, kind of a small mid-sized type enterprise. So you could just check off, how many sales reps you have in your organization. That'll give us a good idea of who's joining us today. Fantastic. Cool. Thank you for your responses there. Going to go ahead and close that out. Perfect. Thanks so much, everyone. You're much appreciated. And we've got a nice little surprise for everyone on the call today for joining us. We're going to be doing a giveaway for a pair of Apple AirPods at the end of the session today. So please stick around till the end, and we'll be doing that drawing after the presentation from Rieva. So before we jump in, I would like to just give everyone an introduction to Leap for those of you who may not know who or what Leap is. We are a subscription-based cloud software that companies of all sizes can use to digitize their business. We integrate with many other top home improvement softwares. It really brings everything together in one place to kind of coordinate your sales effort and really work between sales, production, and bringing the best experience to the homeowner that we can. It really helps to get rid of redundancies and errors that slow down your sales process. And so it's going to include things like your estimates and contracts, proposals, bringing your sales materials all together in one place, and the ability for you to submit for on-the-spot financing and capture payment securely. Gives you a great leg up on your competition and enables you to scale and grow your business, all while simplifying the sales process and giving homeowners a great experience. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us today. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker today. Rieva is the president and CEO of two companies that focus on small businesses and entrepreneurship, GrowBiz Media and smallbizdaily.com. She's a nationally known speaker, best-selling author, and authority on entrepreneurship for more than 40 years. Before starting GrowBiz Media, she was a longtime editorial director of Entrepreneur magazine. And Rieva has also written several books about small business, including the best-selling Start Your Own Business. Rieva regularly writes about small businesses and entrepreneurship and has a weekly podcast devoted to small business issues as well. She also consults with and produces custom content for corporations targeting entrepreneurs and small business owners. She's appeared on several different talk shows, including the Today Show, Good Morning America, CNN, the Martha Stewart Show, and Oprah. So with that, I'd like to welcome Rieva. Rieva, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Kelly. It's so good to be with you. I'm excited. We have a lot of information, so I'm going to launch in. You can see that if you have any questions afterwards, there's my email. You can see my email, Rieva. It's RIEVA at smallbizdaily.com. You can hit me up on Twitter. I'm on all the social medias, but really the only one I pay attention to is Twitter. Otherwise, you'll get my partner. So with that, we're going to get started because we have a lot of information. So we're going to look first at the industry outlook and what's going on in the industry. So there's a lot of good news. I know it's been a tough year for everybody, but all the stats show that for remodeling, home improvement, home repairs, everybody's predicting a slight uptick from last year, where at the very end of 2020, it was about 3.5% increased spending. It's going to go to 3.8 by the year end. Metro Studies Zonda says big ticket projects are going to increase by about 54,000 to 14.2 million. And remodeler confidence is bouncing back because overall spending should reach about 285 billion. So technology, this is the sort of key to every small business's success. is how you adapt and use technology. Why should you invest in tech? Because consumers have invested in tech. This is one thing where consumers have really led the way over businesses, is they've taken that tech leap, and we have to follow or we're going to be left behind. So it's the discovery journey, and it's like how does a company, a person, consumer find your business? It's search. That's where they start their discovery journey. Is they sit down at a computer or at increasingly at a mobile device and say, this is what I'm looking for. Find it for me. You can see overall Google averages 40,000 searches every second. I was trying to like get that into my head, and I really couldn't. I couldn't, my brain did not wrap around that. Or about 1.2 searches globally, 1.2 trillion a year. 44% of people search on laptops and desktops. 51, almost 52% use mobile phones, and about 4% use tablets. When I first started doing presentations, or even just 5 years ago, that number was not like that. Many more people searched on laptops and desktops. So that has shifted, and that's going to continue to shift as mobile technology continues to improve. The top lead generation strategy used by marketers, and by marketers, I mean small business marketers, people who are trying to get their small business out there, are a website, email marketing, and search engine optimization. So let's look a little bit about the importance of search. So this is the percentage of shoppers that go to a search engine before they're buying. Now, there are several search engines, right? But mostly people go to Google. So 65% of people who are looking for home remodeler go do search before they entertain even talking to people. And you can see 64% looking for painters, 62% looking for roofers and HVAC repair, 58% looking for electrical, and 54% looking for plumbing. So above half on all of those. In the home services searches specifically, you can see this was pre-pandemic last year. Not everybody is up to date on their stats, but and we're kind of back to that normalcy, I think. So I think the numbers will sort of imitate that today. You can see how many millions of online searches there are for people looking for builders and plumbers and contractors and roofers and remodelers. So you have to have a presence to be found on the search engine. But we talk about that. The idea is you get found, and then someone is going to reach out to you. So the key is to answer the phone when they call. A lot of consumers prefer to speak to someone live rather than fill out an online form. So they're starting at their computer. They're looking to, maybe they're comparing prices, comparing services, getting a list of companies, and then they want to call. And 40% of home service consumers who call after a search make a purchase. So it's really important to answer that phone. They're looking to schedule an appointment, check your hours, inquire about pricing, and look at that number. Look at that number of calls that go unanswered. That is money on the table. And the thing is if they call you and you don't answer, they're not going to be like, oh, I'll try again later. You've got a ton of competitors, and they're just going to move on. So you can see here that these are the people who research online and convert by phone. And look at the industries of that: 93% plumbing, 84% roofing. These are huge numbers. So if you're not at least there to answer the phone, you need to have an answering service or some system in place where people know that you've acknowledged their call and that you're going to take care of them. So how do you drive more call conversions? Once people call, what do you do? Well, first, make it easy for them to call you on your website. And we're going to talk a little bit more about websites in a moment. Put a call now. Make that one of your calls to action, is call now. And it'd be great if you just had a button, because again, remember, a lot of people are searching on mobile. So they're on their phone. You say call now, they press the button, and that's it. They don't have to write anything down. They don't have to remember anything. They're going to act in the moment, and that's when they're looking for information. Track your callers, monitor what's going on so you can know how the digital journey is unfolding. What do people do from seeing who you are, finding you online, to making an appointment or you closing the deal. Capture the FAQs that people are asking, sort of like, you get a lot of frequently asked questions. What are they? And add them in your content on your website. So one, people don't need to ask you, you've answered their question right off the bat, which is going to make people feel a little bit more confident about doing business with you. It also improves your SEO, and it's going to boost conversions. Then think about what are the conversations? How many calls aren't being answered? Are people on hold too long? Do they hang up? If you do convert a call, who's doing that? Who's making that sale? So you can then, it's sort of like test and monitor, and you can adjust and see what's happening all along the way and change those behaviors. And then you optimize, you analyze, and repeat. Test and repeat is a really good motto for small business owners. Once you start generating calls, you have to figure out, okay, what's causing that? What's good? Constantly test new processes, and the ones that work, you institute those and then start the cycle all over again. So you have to have a website. 35% of small business owners feel that their business is too small for a website. And I'm going to tell you, there is no such thing. You cannot be too small for a website. I don't care if you're the only person in your company. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how long you've been in business. You launch with a website, because that is reflective of your business. It's what gives customers direct access to your business and who you are. It creates a home for your business. It's just about you. I have, over the years, been on panel discussions, been talking to audiences, doing workshops and other webinars, and people say, well, I don't really need a website. I have Facebook. And I was actually once on a panel discussion with somebody from Facebook who said, you don't need a website, you have Facebook. And I was like, no, Facebook is not a substitute for a website. No social media is a substitute for a website. Social media is owned by them. You have to use their design, follow their rules. You're driving consumers to their site. It's not about you. You're spending money promoting their brand. Their algorithms and policies change constantly. You are not in control. And you started a business partly so you could be in control. So take control of your business and make sure you have your own website. It has to be mobile friendly. They almost all are now. You don't have to specify. And that's just responsive design, which means the design on the page, it automatically responds to the size phone or tablet that it's being called up on, and you don't have to worry about it. If you don't have a mobile friendly site yet, talk to your web host to make sure you do. And it's really cheap. We converted ours for like less than 400. I think it was like $340 to convert to a mobile site a couple of years ago. So here's the key stat. Businesses that are actively engaged online can grow about 40% faster than if they didn't have an online presence. So you don't want to leave that on the table. So to have a mobile friendly site, these are the must-haves. You have to be able to load quickly and make it easy to navigate your site, because that's what frustrates consumers, and they'll just move on. Slow load times. For you all, photos are going to be key to your site. People want to see, before and afters. So make sure your photo sizes are optimized as well, because that can really slow a site from loading. And people want to see the pictures, but they don't want to wait to see them. So again, talk to your web host about making sure your pictures are optimized. It's really easy to do. Limit the number of forms you have people filling out mobile. It's kind of cumbersome. Make sure there's a lot of drop down menus with a lot of where you can just hit a button or something to fill in the information. All sites, and I hope you all are, you need to make sure you're a secure site. Chrome is the biggest browser out there. And on Chrome, if your site is not secure, meaning it doesn't have the S at the end, it's just HTTP, it actually says not secure in that bar up there. And that scares a lot of people. They'll see not secure and they'll just move on because they don't know what that really means and they're not comfortable. So just make sure that you secure your site. Again, really cheap to do so. You want to have a lot of calls to action. Make sure they're easy to find, easy to see. If they're buttons, even better. Keep your menu short and sweet, and make it easy to get back to the homepage. If people are 2 or 3 pages in, don't make them like keep hitting their back button. Just have a home thing and go home, and it takes you there. Speed counts. It's really important. On average, it takes about 15 seconds to fully load a mobile page, and consumers are, wait, that's way too long. I don't want to wait that long. And a lot of them are, I don't care about who does it best. Who does it best now? We're very impatient as a society. 53 of mobile site visits are abandoned if pages take longer than 3 seconds to load. 3 seconds is no time at all. So again, this is all easily fixes. It's all easy to optimize your site for that kind of speed. If you want to test how fast your site is now, here's where you go. So you go to this on Google. It's totally free, and it takes seconds. It doesn't take very long, and they'll tell you, oh, this is good or this is bad. Mobile page speed is a search engine ranking factor. That's what helps you rise organically in the search engines, are the ranking factors. And Google doesn't always share what their ranking factors are, but when they went to mobile, they wanted to make sure businesses followed. So they told people, hey, it's a ranking factor. This was a year ago that they instituted that. So if your site is slow to load, it's actually hurting your search rankings, and that can really hurt you. So one of the best ways for you to get found online, so right, we're starting with, you build a website, you have a website, and then you need to make sure people can find your website because there's just a gazillion websites out there. You start with an online business directory. Now, a business directory really is what the Yellow Pages used to be, but it's online, and they exist in general, and then they exist in niches. So it's all about helping local businesses get found. So some of the rules of online business directories are a consistent NAP, that's name, address, and phone number. So there are many different directories, which you'll see in a moment. You need to make sure that your name and address are exactly the same in all of them. Right? So you don't want to write street in one and ST in another, because it's bots. It's not a person thinking, oh, ST means street. So it doesn't recognize necessarily that it's the same business. Make sure you describe your company, and make sure the description reflects who you are, because this is what people are seeing about you, and this is how they're making their instant decision of whether to follow through and contact you. If you have some pictures or videos, that always adds to the experience and makes people want to call you more. Why should you use online business directories? It sends referral traffic directly to your website from the directory. You get fresh leads. It helps you get customer reviews, which helps your online reputation management, which is really important. And we'll get into that later. And it improves your SEO, which is, again, very important for how people find you. This is a listing, and those are all hot linked, by the way, or they should be, of the local online business directories as ranked by HubSpot in order. These are the ones they say are, these are the ones they say are the best. These are general small business local directories. These are not specific to your industry. You can see, some are, like Angie's List, but these are general, and you should be on all of them. And the way we usually recommend that you start is with Google My Business, right? So you claim your listing on Google My Business. It's free. You might go to Google My Business and see that there's already a listing there because they went and, kind of search the web to find them. But if you don't claim it, it's not complete and it may not be correct. So you want to make sure you claim it, make sure all the information is correct. If your hours change at any time of the year or other important things change, make sure to update your listing. Don't overlook Bing. It's about 25% of all search queries are Windows based from our Bing, which is from Microsoft, which includes voice search on Microsoft, which is Cortana. So here are the lead gen sites for the home services industry. So some of these, most of these charge a fee for you to be listed. So we have the overall business directories, which your listing is free. And then here's where you get into your industry, and it's these are sites that you'll list and they'll charge you to list, and if you get a lead from it, they may charge you per lead. Everyone works differently, so check them out. Just don't go to one and say, hey, here's the best deal. Check them all out to make sure that this is the best deal for your business. So COVID-19, we hopefully are coming through to the end of what's happened here, but the if we could say the positive aspect of it is COVID forced a lot of businesses to adopt new technology before they might have. Like I said, sometimes small businesses lag in tech adoption, but COVID forced people to do it. In all industries, all small businesses had to make adjustments. In the construction business specifically, House did a survey and found 62% of construction businesses implemented new safety guidelines. 37% started using video consultation tools. That should be higher. That's a great tool for you to use. And 33% source more products online. And this is where a tool like Leap can really help you all. It allows you to put together your estimates and contracts digitally, because that's what makes consumers comfortable, and then email them to your customers for electronic signatures. People want to meet with you as little as possible while this is going on. You can house all your presentations digitally, makes it easy for you to offer video consultations, and even allows you to offer digital applications for financing and to secure payment capture. These are the conveniences today's consumers want, so you want to make sure you take advantage of them using something like Leap. Okay, so now we're going to talk about another issue that I know afflicts your industry, which is recruitment and retention for staffing. It's not a new issue. It may feel like it, but there was a survey from the Associated Builders and Contractors who said 80% of residential contractors had problems filling jobs in 2018, which is 3 years ago. So how do we solve the problem? It's difficult, but one of the ways that could ease your burden is adopting HR technology. Again, businesses sometimes come slow to technology and say, okay, I have to use this. And HR is something that nobody thinks about. But think about, it's such a cliche, but it's so true. Time is money. So how much time are you spending on tasks that don't generate income? Like, are you doing your own payroll? Um, are you taking care of HR stuff? Some estimates, some surveys say it's about in your business, it's about 40% of your time. You don't have time to go out there and to recruit people, retain your talent, develop proposals if you're sitting back there doing stuff that is just not worth your time to do. Capterra, which is a software evaluation service, says that small, medium businesses that continue to rely on manual methods instead of using HR tech are just setting themselves up to fail. So you need to invest in HR technology. Here are some of the things that the HR tech allows you to automate and simplify. Helps you onboard your workers, do background checks. There's software apps for all of that. Time tracking helps you know where everybody is. If they're supposed to be where they are, you can monitor hours, approve hours on the go. If people need overtime, you can make that decision wherever you are and wherever they are. Overtime compliance, it's all built in. Payroll processing. I have like a couple of must-haves for all small businesses. One is you have to have a website, and two is nobody should be doing their own payroll. Nobody. It's too complicated. It changes constantly. Rules are changing. You don't have time. Outsource your payroll or, get a software to do it. It just is a ridiculous thing for any business owner. to spend their own time manual doing it. I think somebody told me once there's 15,000 different codes in payroll across the country. It's kind of crazy. Job costing, you can use GPS technology on phones today to automatically create job costs. It's just, this is why you need to do it. So Software Advice is a really great website, and this is them saying, and you see the hot links. I searched on 1 to 25 employees, 25 to 50. If you have more than that, if you just go to that website, Software Advice, click that link, it'll take you to the construction page. And if you have more employees, you can search on more. There's a lot more information. I just picked the top rated ones because there were, I think, 150 in all, and it just a link on there, and it's free. Gives you a description of what these companies are offering and what their costs are. These are all, I only chose the ones that it's kind of like Yelp. They rated it by dollar signs. I only chose the $2 and below for this presentation. So go there if you're looking for more to see what you can do. Recruiting. So recruiting is an issue. So there was a survey from the National Association of Home Builders that of just people out there in terms of career, and 74% of adults aged 18 to 25 kind of knew what their career wanted to be, and only 3% of that group chose fields in construction. 63% said no chance that they would even consider a job in construction, no matter what the pay was. And that's daunting. That's kind of really negative, daunting information. So how do we change that? So some of the suggestions were to invest in tech training to get more younger workers in the door, because younger people, they're tech natives, right? They know this from preschool. Somebody, or even before, hands them a tablet or a phone, or they start playing with it. So you can start maybe by reaching out to high schoolers. Think about internships and career opportunities early on, so you can get people interested in your business, in construction overall, but in your business specifically. You have to educate the parents, emphasize the tech aspects of the job, that there's a lot of technology involved. And the 14-year-olds, the pro course, that they just get it. They just automatically get it. And that is the future of the construction industry, and it's innate to them. So you want to combine that. Procore worked with ACE and developed a game called Brick by Brick to help attract students to the industry. And they also use it, Procore does, to keep their employees involved. So it's about retaining a multi-generational workforce, because if you're bringing young people in, and this happens in every business, the young people come in all full of, here's tech and this does this, and the older employees are a little bit wary, and they're like, I don't get it. And so you want to make sure your older workers aren't feeling left behind, that you're investing in upgrading their skill set. So that means tech training. A lot of it for tech, it's sometimes hard to learn on a webinar over a computer. So it could be on-site training when we open up again. This woman from San Mateo County Electrical says that they don't segregate their workers by age. They put everybody together, encourage the crosstalk, relationships develop, and people end up teaching one another. And with the new technology and the new education, you're saying that the workers, there's a lot of opportunities here within my company. So hopefully that'll help them stick around. Then you want to make sure your team is engaged with you and with each other. Low engagement, it reduces quality. It could lead to injuries, a bad hit to your reputation. So you engage through communication and education. You want to make sure that you're communicating with your workers. You want to make sure that they're communicating with one another, and increase your touch points. So that's about sort of saying, hey, we're a team here. So you want to recognize people's contributions, celebrate your successes. You want to nurture what your values are, make sure your people understand what that is, instill that in them. And it just creates a more a feeling of loyalty, employee loyalty, and people will stick around because you're making them stakeholders, right? You're making them feel connected to you, connected to the business. And when they feel that, they want to work harder because they feel like they're really integral to the success of your company. And with that, they're happy. They want to bring people aboard. They're like, this is such a great company to work for. I want to bring people I know, maybe former coworkers or friends. So ask them, when you have open positions, like, hey, is there anybody you know who you would think would want to work here? And then ask them to reach out on their social media platforms, because that's a really good place for them to connect with people. And you can motivate people by um, by offering a bonus, like, hey, if you recommend somebody and they stick around, just don't say recommend, and they stick around for 6 months or 9 months or a year, here we'll give you a little bit of a bonus. Or you can make it a tiered bonus. If they stick around for 6 months here, and then at the end of a year, hey, we'll give you a little bit more. So the benefits that attract and retain workers: health insurance. This isn't a surprise to anybody, but the interesting thing is not everybody wants the same thing. So ask your employees what they want. What kind of, it varies by age and status and income level, what they're looking for. Retirement benefits, the same thing. And educational benefits are one of the things that are often overlooked, but they have the highest degrees of employee satisfaction. Are to sorry about that, tuition reimbursement and paid job training. So that's really important to keep people. Okay, we're going to move on to communications. It's about customer attraction. So the ways that we're going to talk today about how you attract customers are email marketing, direct mail, video, and social media. Email. Email is king. It's the king of the marketing kingdom. It generates $44 for every dollar spent. It outperforms any other kind of marketing. Just take a look at some of those numbers. Personalized subject lines are 26% more likely to be opened. Consumers actually say, they're asked in surveys, how do you want companies to reach out to you? And they say email. 60% of email opens happen on mobile devices, so you have to optimize your emails as well for mobile. Not everybody does that. Again, include a call to action button instead of a link, because it boosts conversion by 28%. So your email best practice are: keep your email short and sweet, subject lines 6 to 10 words, 8 is ideal. Personalize it, because that increases open rates. Video and email can increase click-through by 30%. And don't do the important with all the exclamation points, and certain words like bonus and free will actually get your email sent to spam. Often it just hurts your credibility and makes you seem desperate. These are the best according to Email Tool Tester. And again, I went in and just took the ones that were 4 stars and above and that were free. And these are what they call are the best email marketing tools. We use MailChimp personally, and we do a weekly newsletter with MailChimp, and it's wonderful. The only ones I actually have experience with are on this list are MailChimp and Zoho, and they both work really well. Don't spam. This is illegal. So here are the rules. You can go to the FTC for more, but these are rules that have to be followed. They have to be followed, because you can get in a lot of trouble and it can cost you money if you spam. Video marketing. This is from a State of Video Marketing survey that was just released within the last few weeks. Video is a great investment for lead gen. 84% of video marketers say it's been really effective. About 80% of businesses say that it has had a positive impact on sales. It's helped people understand their product or service. That's 94% agreement. That's pretty large. When companies are measuring success, most businesses consider video engagement the top metric. Plays and views are second to that. 29% of those using video measure by sales. So that's a small number. So it's really hard I'm going to do a video and it's going to lead to this much in sales. at this point, it's more about engagement and getting people to know you. The sales will come, but because 78% say it has improved their bottom line. The two biggest platforms for video are YouTube and Facebook, as you can see. Other tactics work as well. Explainer videos have seen huge success. TikTok, not quite think it's for your industry or any industry. It's more for fun at the moment. But a lot of people, 94% watch explainer videos. So that's and 84% were swayed to make a purchase after that. So this is a percentage of business, the number of businesses that use video as a marketing tool. And you can see in the last few years, growth it's been pretty steady, but it's a pretty big number. So you're not expecting growth, but 2016 was only 5 years ago. So you can see it's really grown since then. Companies that say it's an important part of their marketing strategy, that's 93%. That's basically everybody. So you don't want to be left behind by not doing it. And 87% they're projecting for this year say it's going to have a positive ROI. So it's something that you invest in and you're going to get your money back. The pandemic has, a lot of marketers have said it's made video more important to their business, which makes sense. It's a way to reach out, personalize your company. 40% of video marketers plan to create videos, plans to create videos were affected by the pandemic. 74% used it more. 60% say this year there are going to 70% of the 60% who say their budgets are going to change. 70% say they're going to spend more money on video. And consumers, 68% of consumers say pandemic has affected how much video they watch. And of that 68%, almost everybody watches more. Or video content, you can up your organic traffic by almost 200%. And consumers say we want to see more video. Direct mail, and you're probably going, what? Nobody, junk mail? Are you kidding? It has made a comeback in the last few years. Why is it hot? It's a trust factor. Younger people, they don't know from junk mail because people stopped sending it because people were throwing it out. So they don't think of direct mail as junk mail. It stands out because they get hundreds of emails a day and they get not a whole lot of actual mail. So it's a way to get it to stand out. It's very shareable. Physical mail goes to the whole household. And it has a longer lifespan, according to associations that have done this. People tend to keep it around in their house for almost 2 weeks, over 2 weeks. So direct mail, postcards, catalogs, booklets, group mailers, the ones you get. There's the group booklets delivered in an envelope. You have to choose your option based on your budget because it's not cheap, right? Your mailings, your printing and mailing stuff. Start with your existing customers, like maybe you want to retarget somebody you've done business with before, or you did a bid and they decided to put it on hold, because people respond more to companies they've done business with. People discuss, if it's something interesting, they'll say to a friend or, a coworker, hey, look at this, isn't this cool? And check out the post office's Every Door direct mail program. It's a postcard program, and it's very affordable. And the post office works with you targeting neighborhoods. You can target a neighborhood specifically. So your direct mail, you want to make sure it's designed well, right? Think of them as Instagram posts, right? Because we're going to get to that later, but you're really designing for millennials. You want to keep the text brief, the layout streamlined, and photography eye-catching. Don't send too much, because then you become junk mail. Track your results and combine your direct mail with email. Social media. Why be social? Because it does all those things for you. It helps you build awareness, attract new customers. I mean, you can read the list. There's almost only upsides to social media, but you have to actually be social and interact. So here are some of the numbers. The top 3 networks are Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. About that stat's probably a little bit outdated. It was from the middle of last year. Visual social posts 40 times more likely to get shared. And you're in an industry that has visuals, right? That creates beautiful visuals. 92% of all user interactions are Twitter involve links. So it's about getting people to click through on social to your website or to something that's going to get them to call your business. So the other part of social is you can check out what your competitors are doing, right? You can see how they're marketing to customers by following them on social. Facebook, they have to let you in. Twitter, unless they're looking to block you, you just follow somebody on Twitter and you can, they don't know. And there's a way to do it where you're not even following them so they can't reject you. If you want to know about that, ask me in the question section. It's another channel for customer care. I find Twitter extraordinarily effective to get through to companies, where I'll call, I've actually, and then gone on Twitter and saying, I've been calling your company for 3 days now, no one's answering me. And the Twitter customer service people get back to me. Check out social media advertising, particularly on Facebook. You can target down to zip codes, down to demographics, and it's relatively inexpensive. So here's your 4-step social plan. Reserve your business name on all the major channels. Now, don't panic. I'm not telling you like, oh, you got to go on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, immediately, but I want you to get your name on them all at once. Just reserve them. This is from Constant Contact. They're the big email company, but they do a lot, online marketing. And in the home service businesses, they say these are the most important ones to start with. And for home builders, those are the most important ones to start with. So I'm going to trust Constant Contact that is true. Step 2, pick a channel, one channel, and be active. If you're trying to do more than one, at once, you're gonna get overwhelmed and you're just gonna abandon it, and then it looks like there's nothing there at your company, and that's really bad. It takes time to build an audience, so don't sit there and go, oh, I only have this many followers, what's happening, it's not worth my time. Post strategically. It's a growth engine for home services and construction companies. Again, this is Constant Contact. They've studied the industry, built awareness, it serves your customers, and it can drive action. Develop a content calendar. So you're not every day saying, okay, what do I post? So sit down maybe once a month and figure out what you want to post, and you can schedule these. There's a lot of tools, some free, some cost a little bit of money, that you can schedule posts ahead of time. Again, you don't have to do this yourself. You could have an employee do it. You could freelance this out to an independent contractor. It doesn't take all that much time to get this done. Those are just some ideas from Constant Contact. Customers have changed, right? New consumers have different expectations. Who's buying houses? Millennials. This is really important because a lot of people think, oh, millennials. I mean, again, we do that with every generation. So millennials are from their early 20s to, I think they turn 40 next year, depending on whose numbers you use. So a study from Harvard says 23 million new millennial households are going to crop up in the next decade because they're going to college, they're graduating, getting jobs, and they're buying homes. But this generation has less money than the previous generation, so they're buying fixer-uppers. And the industry analysts say they're going to continue to do that. So those older homes, they need repairs, they need updates, and whose help are they going to need? Yours. So you're going to want to target millennial consumers. They don't rely on word of mouth as much as prior generations. They turn to tech first. That's why all things technology are really important. They read reviews and research their options online. You need to up your digital game to reach this generation. And the generation below them, Gen Z, same thing. They use smartphones for their research and to check prices, going back to why everything needs to be mobile friendly. They're the parents. In America, millennials, over half the households with children under the age of 18 are millennial households. So those are your prime targets right now. They are they're activists when it comes to consumerism, right? They consider it their channel for change. So 61% of them consider themselves green consumers. So you want to maybe present your green options to them up front. More than half are boycotting at least one company because that's how they vote with their values. If they don't like what a company is doing, they just won't do business with them. And that goes for actually 38% of all Americans do that, but over half of millennials and Gen Z, excuse me, do that. So what's the remodeling demand look like right now? Burns Consulting says US is halfway through a transition that ends in 4 years, where 11 million older homeowners are aging out, being replaced by 15 million younger ones. And the reason the number is there are more millennials than there were ever baby boomers. And there are going to be more Gen Zers than there were millennials. So you're talking millennials, you're talking like 86 million Americans. So you're talking huge, huge numbers. Younger homeowners undertake on average 35% more remodeling projects than older ones, and 40% are really into remodeling their kitchen and bath projects. B of A last year polled consumers. This is not millennial, this is all consumers, about what are you going to do during COVID-19? And 70% were going to tackle a home improvement project. And that bled over into more than that was for last year. And then the indicator was that it's going to be even higher this year. So we talked about millennials, but don't overlook the boomers, because the younger boomers are still in their 50s, right? The boomers were a huge generation in terms of span. They were born from 1946 to 1964. So a lot of boomers have decided to age in place, no more moving to Florida. They want to stay near their kids and grandkids, but they need their homes retrofitted. So they're staying in their homes, but they need maybe wider doorways, or to let make room for a wheelchair, shower grab bars, and other things to make their home safer. Less carpeting, more wood or tile floors, so nobody's tripping and it's easy for wheelchairs. So here are the remodeling trends. I'm actually sure that you know this more than I know this, but this is what I found. Remote working, it worked last year. More and more companies are going remote permanently, which means they don't need to be near their offices anymore. So they're moving out to the burbs and the boonies, even further than suburbs. People are looking for a Zoom room, a dedicated room, or a corner of their house where it's pleasing for their video, it's nice for their video conference calls. In some cases, they need more than one, because you got 2 adults who are working and kids who are studying all in the same place. And they want land. They're looking now, if they're going to move out to the burbs or the boonies, they want more backyard spaces. Sometimes they're willing to buy a smaller house because it's on a bigger piece of land. And so outdoor remodeling comes into there too. They're looking for work from home sanctuaries. This is really big right now because not all houses came with that, right? So they're like, how do I transform a bedroom or a bonus space, or how do I carve out an office? I see lots of, I love decorating magazines where people have taken closets and turned them into fully functioning home offices, or they're putting up structures on the property like she sheds or other kinds of work, so people can work on the property and not in the house, because that's actually a tax advantage for them. They're looking for creative, functional spaces to be created so they can balance their work and life, more storage options so work can fit in with their life stuff, and sound installation so they can create a sounder work environment. Kitchen trends, because as we said, millennials are really into that. We're now bouncing back from open spaces, and they want more clearly delineated spaces. You can see the number of homeowners who have changed from opening up their kitchen just 2 years ago to ones who want it not so open anymore. Outdoor space is really important, as we said. So a lot of them want to open the kitchen up to the outside. Outdoor kitchens are big. Kitchen storage, more cabinets and walk-in pantries, and wood floors in kitchens are out, being replaced by ceramic and porcelain tile, which looks like hardwood is in. Reputation management. So this is about, we talked about the online directories. These are the rating and review sites. In some cases, like Yelp, they're the same. People read reviews. for local businesses and overall. They trust reviews just as much as they trust information from people they know. They're reading 10 reviews. If 57% of consumers will only use a company if it has 4 or more stars in their reviews, and in your industry in specific, you need to put in a review and rating strategy in place to make sure you get a good rating. So here's some best practices. Have an open dialogue. If somebody posts, answer them. Don't despair if you get a negative review. People get them. People expect them. If consumers see something that is all rave, sometimes they think it's phony. The more profiles you have on these sites, the better. The more money you make, you can see the numbers there. So what do? Ask for reviews. I mean, Yelp tells you you're not supposed to ask, but just ignore that. So ask for reviews. Don't wait for customers. Say, hey, we'd love it if you would post a review, and give them the site. They may want to do it on their own, but give them the site you most want them to post it on, just as a suggestion. 68% of customers will leave a review if you ask them. Don't, that you can't, it's not a bribe. Don't do that, because that's really bad. Monitor your reviews, respond to them, the good and the bad. For the good, you might just need to say, thanks a lot. It was great doing business with you. Hope to do it again one day. If it's bad, offer to take the discussion offline. You don't want to fight with people in public, and it shows that you care. It's good for everybody. Share your reviews. Use them in your company communications. That's a way to get your employees more involved, to make them care more about the business, to be proud. Use them in your recruitment orders, because people are like, yeah, I want to work for a company that consumers like so much. And share the customer service stories, success stories internally. That's really important. Negative reviews, I mean, you can see they really hurt your business. So you really want to make sure if you get one that you try to resolve that. Sometimes you can't. And again, to have a few negative reviews, it's not going to hurt you. These are the best ratings and review sites for your industry from Online Visibility Pros. So you can go to Online Visibility Pros and get more information about them. But again, Google My Business. Everything starts there. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kelly, who's going to give you some more information.
Awesome. Thanks, Rieva. Wow, that was so much great information. Thank you for sharing that all with us today. I really appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and swap our screens here. All right. Cool. All right, so I want to thank everyone for participating with us here today. We are gonna, I think we'll have a couple of, like just a minute or two for Q&A. Before we get to that though, I do want to do the drawing for the Apple AirPods winner. And I did want to let everyone know about a special offer that Leap is providing for everyone on the call today. So we'd love to send you lunch in exchange for, having a conversation about your business. So let me go ahead and launch this poll here. Awesome. So in exchange for your time, we'd love to send you lunch. We'll send you a DoorDash or Uber Eats gift card for that. I think this is a really great opportunity for folks in this industry to take advantage of. So our Leap representatives are all day talking with users in the home improvement industry. So they've got a lot of great insights into this. So even if it ends up not being something that you are interested in at the end of the day, I think it's a really helpful opportunity to kind of talk through some of the things that are going on in your business. Use us as a sounding board. Gives you the opportunity to speak about your business, understand maybe where some efficiencies might lie, what you're really good at, and where some areas that you might want to improve on. So these are conversations that we're having on a daily basis with contractors across the country. So we can definitely share some of those insights and information with you that you might not have thought of already for your business, or just put kind of a different perspective on something that you're thinking about. So I definitely encourage you to have one of these conversations. I think it's really beneficial to just kind of talk through some things about your business to hopefully learn more. So with that, let me go ahead and I'll close this out, and then we will do our drawing for our Apple AirPods. Okie doke. All right, and our winner today is Jim Wallen. Sorry about that, Jim. I will reach out to you via email after the webinar today to get your contact information, but congratulations on you being the winner for today's drawing. All right, so now's the time. Looks like we got about 4 minutes, so I'd love to get a couple of questions in before we close out for today. So if you have any, feel free to drop those into that questions box. We've got a couple that have come in so far. So Rieva, first question is coming in regards to some of the social content that you were going over. Is there a best practice for, like, if you were to share the same content across multiple channels, like if you put the same post on Facebook and Instagram and that sort of thing? Do you have any insights there?
Yeah, you can do that. That's not a problem at all. Most consumers have their own favorite channel. And so a lot of people will actually go to Twitter to drive people to their Facebook page, because Twitter, you get to say this much, and with Facebook, you can put, a much larger presentation. So it's all cross-promotional. So it's not a problem at all to use the same. So you can do a video once, put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, and then link to it on Twitter, and it's perfectly fine.
Perfect. All right, and we have another question coming in from John in regards to video. So John is asking, like, how important is it to have professionally, like, produced video versus doing something that's maybe more on the fly? That, like, in terms of, like, budget and, like, value that you'll get out of that, I think.
I think you can do, I think what people are looking for, particularly in a contracting businesses, is they're looking for authenticity. They're looking for somebody who they can relate to. So I don't think you have to hire any production company to do a video. Show who you are, show who your company is, and that's what's going to make people want to do business with you. They're going to, oh, that's so friendly. The professionally produced ones can look a little sterile, and people want to, the rule of marketing is consumers do business with companies they know, like, and trust. So you create your own video, that's how you're going to get them to do that.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think, especially with the pandemic and things that have gone on this year, I think, you've seen a higher rise in these Zoom calls and back and forth where people have, like, real life things happening, like the dog barking or the kids
Yes.
crying or something like that. So I think that people are, like, very used to that going on. And I think it's all about kind of like the brand image that you're got out there. I think that authenticity and things will definitely show through and resonate with people. So I think that taking the chance and getting out there and doing it is only going to help. So totally agree.
Yeah.
Cool.
And today's smartphones are great. You can record a video, and it's really good quality.
Yeah, absolutely. And same with the pictures. I know there's, like, the high def settings that you can use on there that make it look like it's come out, like, from professional photography. So awesome tools to take advantage of that are already, in most everyone's pockets these days. Cool. All right. Our next question is coming in from Sam. Sam's asking, how frequently should I be updating my company website? Is it something that I can just, to build out the page and set and forget, or should that be receiving attention periodically?
Yeah, no, you can't set and forget it, because the way Google works with organic rankings, if you don't want to spend money, is it sends, here's the way I think about neighborhood cats. There are cats in the neighborhood roaming around. And if you put food out, that cat comes to your house because it learns. And your next door neighbor, it may walk by occasionally, but it knows it's not going to get fed. That's like the spiders on Google. When you post new content on your website, it's a ping, and the spider comes by because it's getting fed. So if you post content 3 times a week, the spiders come by regularly. They will regularly come by, and every time they come by, there's a ping, which gives you a rise in organic rankings. It doesn't have to be hard. It can just be, an inspirational quote. But in your industry, post a picture and tell a little bit about what you've done. Try to put at least 250 words in there and do it 3 times a week, and you'll be great.
Perfect. All right. It looks like we're at the top of the hour, so I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So Rieva, any closing words before we finish up?
No, it was so interesting for me to learn more about your industry. Just follow, be genuine, be authentic, get a website, and just don't forget to market. No one's going to come and use your business unless you let people know that you're there.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rieva. Thanks for being with us today, and the great presentation. And thanks everyone on the call for your time and being with us today. I did want to put this out there. This is the contact information for LEAP. If you think of any additional questions or anything like that after the call, feel free to reach out. That marketing@leaptodigital.com email address does go directly to me. So I'll be keeping an eye on that and happy to answer any questions that you might have. I'll also be sending out a recording of today's webinar. I know there's a lot of great content, so if you'd like to share or revisit any of that, we'll be sending that out after the webinar today. So as you leave, you're going to see a short survey pop up. We'd love to get your feedback on today's presentation and hear about any topics that you might be interested in for future webinars. So I'd appreciate it if you could take a moment to answer that as you log off today. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone again for your time and have a great afternoon.